All right, welcome back to the show. We're at Digital Photography Cafe. You can see us here at live.digitalphotographycafe.com. We're at WPPI 2012. If you guys haven't registered to win yet, many sponsors have given us great prizes. Head down to the bottom of the screen, click the little blue button that says Enter to win.
And we are here with Dan Steinhardt, and we're from Epson, and we're going to talk about Epson products and everything that you're presenting here at the show.
Oh, great. But I don't see the blue button these people get to push. This is unfair. I want to push the blue
That's right
button.
here, right down here.
Oh, all right.
You see
I
it?
guess, okay. No, I see. All right. Well, thanks. It's great being with you guys.
Yes, glad to have you.
Yeah.
So what's
This is stereo. This
Yes,
is great. I love
stereo.
it. Yeah, right.
So what's up with Epson? What are you guys presenting at the show?
Well, if you come over to the Epson booth, you're going to see a variety of different printers, the inks that go along with those printers, and also signature-worthy papers that are designed for many people that come to the show, which is primarily portrait photographers, wedding photographers, also commercial people, real hardcore professionals, but a lot of people just getting into the business. So we have products for all of them to talk about the whole Epson lineup. That'll start from 13-inch printers like the R2000 printer. It's a great way to get into high-quality printing, especially good for glossy printing. What's nice about it is it now has Wi-Fi. Now, my colleagues, I'm a hardcore, old professional guy. I lost my hair in darkroom, I can
Too much text.
all that stuff. Someone mentioned ethol the other day. Oh my God, I didn't know that in a long time. But
doing plates or something.
And I remember when this product was in development. Oh, we're gonna have Wi-Fi. No, self-respecting person would have Wi-Fi on a printer. Man, is it nice? I love that thing, and the technology is such. Well, I can't get a cell phone signal in this building. Man, that Wi-Fi works great on that printer.
You could actually have the printer in another room. You can be feeding it wireless. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. Also, especially for people who live in smaller places, and I spent a lot of time in New York City. I come from there. Sometimes the printer has to go in some little nook in some little place that's usually up a staircase, and to be able to do that wirelessly is terrific. And then in the 13-inch range, we also have the R3000. That also has Wi-Fi. This was introduced a little over a year ago. But this is a real entry-level professional machine that allows you to work with a variety of papers, both traditional photographic as well as those great cotton fiber, fine art papers where, what's it about this? And I just hand it to them. Just touch it, and I go, oh, quality art. I'm an artist, and there is a certain thing about photography. It's visual, but there's also a
tactile. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And then if you kind of move up I'm doing this by memory because the booth's over there. Right?
Doing a great job.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. It's kind of a two-dimensional space thing. Then we'll go up to the 17-inch printers. And we have two in that category. The 3880. I didn't name these. I named the papers, but the printer names, there'll be a quiz later. We'll see how you guys do. The 3880 is an upgrade from what used to be known as the 3800, which came out about 4 or 5 years ago. This was really the first photographer's dream machine. Because if you're a photographer, again, I hate to belabor the point about hairline and other attributes of age, but there was something about when you made the 16 by 20 print, you had arrived. You were a professional. But to do 16 by 20 prints digitally, when this printer first came out, it was cumbersome, it was big, it was awkward, it was hard. The 3880 isn't that much bigger than the 13-inch wide printer. It doesn't do rolls, which usually comes as absolutely no heartbreak for any photographer because they prefer to work with cut sheets. And so the size of this printer is really, it's a footprint. It just feels like a printer. It's the kind of printer we like to say you could bring home and a significant other won't file papers for divorce or ask you to
kick you out. Where are you going to put that big thing?
It's not like some of the other printers that show up. It's like, it's a serious life-changing event if you're working at home. But it uses the Ultrachrome K3 with Vivid Magenta ink set, and that has proven to be through the years a great product for high-quality exhibitions. Some of the biggest names in the industry have used that printer. Then within the 17-inch category, we have a higher production machine called the 4900. That uses the new Ultrachrome HDR ink. This is the widest gamut ink in the marketplace, in the inkjet. And what does that mean? You'll hear all these terms, a wide gamut and screening algorithm and TFP printhead, and you hear all this stuff, and we all smile if you don't know it, and then you get that little pain, in your cheeks, like, oh yeah, I'm understanding, and not really, yeah, right. Yeah. What that means is you're going to get colors that you could never get before in any photographic process that looks photographic. In the analog world, especially in color, black and white's a little different, but in the analog world, color was always a compromise. Many times you would deal with a lab, it was always, well, I forgive you yet again, because you didn't have the control. You weren't there putting your hands in it. Very skilled people were at those labs doing the best they could within the constraints of what an analog thing was. Right. But the Ultrachrome HDR ink, the color gamut is out to here. So your only restriction in many cases is the photographer. That's good and bad. You know, one of the beauties about inkjet printing is you have all this amazing choice. And one of the agonies about inkjet printing is you have all this amazing choice. So a certain level of responsibility, as you get higher and higher into the professional products, there's a certain level of responsibility to understand, to educate yourself, to work these things, and to use them as tools. I mean, I had this discussion earlier today with a friend of mine. Well, isn't it great? We can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And I said, you know what? I've seen, as we've moved into the digital world, because of my role as marketing manager, I get to work with some amazing photographers, some amazing young people no one knows about. And I also look at a dearth of perfect technical prints that are about as exciting as I really shouldn't say even for internet radio. You know. They're boring, they're dull. So all of these tools, they're tools. Right. And that's the key thing with all of Epson's technology. And if you get at the core of what makes Epson tick, you know, people go, well, I like this manufacturer's product, well, these people do this thing. If you really kind of drill down, what Epson's all about is this amazing technology company and the zeal that we have behind the scenes to constantly engineer and improve with the goal of it getting out of the way. So when you look at a print, you're seeing a photograph. You don't see inkjet, you don't see dots, you don't see this, you don't see tech. Oh, look, I don't see this. Wasn't that amazing that I'm seeing the screen? None of that. It's out of the way, so it's now in the hands of the photographer to convey what he or she wants to say about that print. And a big part of that is the paper. Absolutely. For years, and I think it's common, especially, and I think this is a male thing. You know, I think I'll admit it. We love technology. We love the tools. You guys got cool stuff here. I was looking at it earlier.
You know, we love our toys.
Lots of toys.
Paper was always this kind of, you know, thing where hands gestures were being used. Oh, it's hard to describe. Oh, it was abstract. But it's really what makes it. It's how that ink goes on there. And we have different kinds of papers. Now, Epson has a whole variety of papers, different things for consumers you would see in an office supply store. But we have what are called the signature-worthy papers. These are the best of the best for photographic purposes. Nice. Broken into 3 categories. Well, they're not broken. They're put into 3 categories.
Yes.
Well, you can bend them. Yes. No, I wouldn't do it. What are known as the photographic papers that use photo black ink. The matte papers, which are cotton fiber papers. Some people call them cotton rag. Rag hasn't been used in 50 years. It's one of my little pet peeves, and we go, you know, have drinks over that one. And then the canvas papers. So you have all of this control and choice, but it's the paper is the best way to convey what you're wanting to do with textures, with something smooth, with something very highly glossy, or with something that has that canvas look.
That's awesome. So as a photographer, so not only do we capture the image exactly the way we want it, you have the huge color gamut to actually print it and show it exactly how we saw it or how we experienced it at the time. But then we have the latitude to pick the paper that best represents what it is that we're trying to convey too. That's great.
And these are all designed by Epson as a system. They're all working together from the very early development of printers. We're constantly thinking about papers and how they're going to relate on there. And that becomes especially important, not only in the sizes we've been talking about, 13-inch, 17-inch, but as we go bigger. And in the booth, we have our 24-inch printers and our 44-inch wide printers. Wow. Now, the beauty of these things is when you look at them.
So you don't bring one of those home to the wife, right? The 44 on the roller.
I've got one that's coming that's going home. I'm gonna have that. Once I can get it in the house, it's okay because I can push them up against the wall. They're not these big, huge things that take up space.
So you're going to be served
just not in the middle of the living room, though, right?
The problem with them is it's not so much the printer, but when that print comes out, oh my God, I can't get it out of the door. Right? And then you got to do that in the middle of the night and come up with all sorts of, techniques and excuses.
She wakes up to the wah, 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 wah.
But with the new 7900 and 9900 and the TFP print-end technology and all that screening algorithms stuff, I said, don't worry about it. What is it really? It's quiet. It is amazingly quiet. Nice. It's also amazingly fast and amazingly sharp. And the technology there in the 900 series printers from 44 inches, 24 inches, 17 inches means that you can move up. So that if you start at one level and you want to go larger, you're going to have that same quality and you have that capability. The same thing too with the 13-inch printers. Those use the Ultrachrome K3, the Vivid Magenta ink, available in 13 inches and in 17 inches and 24 inches, 44, and even 64 inches. Now that's a tough sell at home.
That's a big one.
That's pretty big.
I like that, knowing the inks, though, from one to another. As you go up the ladder, you know what you're going to get, right? It's going to be the same. It's almost like it's comfortable. You have your comfort zone. You're just going bigger and larger. And
We have two basic ink sets. Both are for professional quality. The HDR being the ultra wide gamut, if you're going for those extreme colors, but the other ink set is remarkable for the majority of photography. And it means that if you do want to step up and you want to go larger, you're not starting from scratch. You're going to have images that are going to match. It also means for some photographers who don't have accommodating spouses and significant others, where that big printer can't come in through the door, that they can work with smaller printers and work with one of their favorite labs or service bureaus that has one of those printers and essentially make small prints as proofs, as guides, knowing what they're going to get if they go larger, because they can use the same equipment.
So with the inks and the paper combinations, I know photographers creating fine art that are going to be in galleries or that they're going to put up for sale. What's the archival life of these?
There's no simple answer to that.
Right? There's a lot. This is the direct light behind glass. I know there's a lot of factors that play in.
And we as humans, especially in our soundbite society, as we're seeing with this upcoming election
year,
what's that answer? And can you do that in 2 notes? Yeah. There are many factors that go into durability and longevity, light fastness, ozone. My favorite topic of gaseous pollutants. I'll leave that up to you, what that could possibly be. Water fastness, how is it going to be mounted? Is it going to be behind glass? Is it going to be behind UV glass? So you really have to look at all of those factors in order to make an informed decision about what is the best thing for the right application.
Do you guys have guidance for these choices on your website that they could go and kind of review as they're looking to pick their equipment, pick the inks and the papers, and what their end usage is going to be?
Actually, on all of those different attributes, we would look to independent third parties, and there's several out there that do testing. Also, we'll talk about all those different attributes and what they mean. Most people jump immediately to the light fastness. But that is not the whole story.
No, not at all.
And then there's some very interesting thing. There's a de facto industry accepted test practice. I'm careful with those terms because we don't have a standard at this time. There's a variety of reasons for that. That'll be another
that's a whole
12
other
shows. Right?
It's a whole series.
That's right. That's right.
But what is a good benchmark in either de facto world or things that have been around for a long time is there's a relationship to other products that we have experienced in the analog world as well as the digital world to gauge. No one will know for sure unless you can hang around for 100 to 200 years and then take bets, and then by that time
it's not going to matter.
But these are very serious matters for people that sell their work for fine art, or legacy, leaving it for a family, and especially here at this show, people are capturing memories of very important events, and those memories need to last.
Sure they're going to be around.
Last lifetimes, not just a lifetime.
But the thing that does come up quite a bit as we move into digital technology, what about the web? What about social media? What about all these different things? How important is the print? Many people feel, I might have a little bias here because of my background as the Epson guy. That microphone blinked when that flash went off. Did you notice? Yeah.
That's going to look awesome on video.
For those of you, and this wasn't that long ago, how many people have a SideQuest drive to read those files?
Oh, God, I had a SideQuest drive.
I still have tapes, and I have other stuff that no one knows.
These things change. So even, I'm backed up. It's on DVD. Thank God it's on DVD. Yeah. Well, who knows?
It'll be outdated in a few years.
And will there be readers for that? There's something about the print that has longevity. There's something about the print that if stored properly, not necessarily taking, crazy precautions like putting it in salt mines and in the state of Pennsylvania where here it blocks gamma radiation or does something. But a reasonable way of taking care of a print is a way of holding on to that archive and that memory as technology changes, and technology will change.
I like the whole idea too that having a printer to print your own work and do it. So many photographers now in the digital age, they're putting thousands of pictures on the computer and they print nothing. And I don't think a photograph is a photograph until it is printed. And being able to do it in your studio or doing it at your home and have something tangible, like you're saying, feeling it, smelling it, whatever, you actually have it. It's become alive, and you can enjoy it. You can bring it somewhere. Something on the computer, it's going to be there. It might be deleted, like we're saying, archived. Who knows if it's going to be around? So having that actual tangible print, I think it's
I travel a lot in my job for personal reasons, and I find it very difficult to carry around a big CRT monitor to show my seatmate next to me on the
Exactly.
Hey, what do you think of that? There is something very sexy and nice about a print on a screen because it's transmitted light.
Right.
And actually, that's one of the technical things as we get into printing. People say,
Right.
"Oh, my print is too dark." Well, no, your print's not too dark. Your monitor's too bright. And we have to talk about calibrating that monitor in these different medias. I think they're all going to coexist, and they're all going to kind of work together. But unlike analog products, there's a lot of talk about film and certain companies that manufacture those things. Those will go away, but the print will endure. The print will endure because it's collectible. If you go into museums, you go into the art world, you don't see, no one's auctioning off a DVD or a monitor.
Exactly.
It's the print that has the value. Sometimes, and this gets into a whole other issues around, well, gee, with inkjet, I can hit the button, I can make lots of prints. And that gets into editioning those prints. How do you treat it in the fine art world? If we were having this discussion 5 years ago, I would be begging, for credibility for inkjet prints in the greatest galleries in the world. And those days are, I wouldn't say completely over, but there's acceptance of that. But like any media, there needs to be responsible parties that can manage those things. Because you can do the same thing in the darkroom. It was just dark, and you can crank, prints through. The irony is that something is of greater value if there's less of it. I don't know, they're interesting academic questions.
So fantastic. So if they want to find all the new things and the old and everything about Epson, where is the best place for them to go?
Well, the products that we have here at WPPI are primarily our professional products, and almost all of them are found not at Epson.com, where a lot of people go and you'll get a map of the world, and that's kind of cool, and you have to, 4 or 5 clicks, and for some people with certain attention spans, it's too much. You want to go to proimaging.epson.com. That'll take you to the Pro printers, the 3880, all the papers that we were talking about. That's the place where you'll see some very interesting videos that I've produced with photographers talking about these various products, these various printers. Not so much that, and because I feel very strongly about it, I feel we work with some of the best photographers in the business, and they all want to endorse these things. And I said, no, tell us about you. It's a celebration of the photographer and how they're using them as tools to make their photography, to make their prints even better. And that's under the focal point section of proimaging.epson.com.
Very cool.
Perfect.
We'll all go
thanks
check that
for
out.
being on the show.
Yes, thanks, Dan.
Okay,
Thanks for
thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Great.